Dear friend, I'm Dr. Thomas Vance. With this message, my deepest hope is to hand you, a senior who lies awake at night worrying about your health, a clear, practical, and easy-to-follow plan that can truly protect you from the terrifying danger of stroke. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Those small, everyday changes that older adults often brush aside are actually urgent cries for help from your brain. A stroke is not an inevitable part of growing older. It is something we can recognize early, treat quickly, and prevent effectively, so you can stay healthy, independent, and keep enjoying precious moments with your children and grandchildren. In the pages ahead, we'll move together from the real worries you carry every day, through warm and relatable stories, the simple "be fast" warning signs, the easy-to-understand science, and straight into practical steps and real-life proof. Everything is designed to inspire you to take action today. Please leave a comment right below and tell me where you're watching from and how your health is feeling right now. I read every comment and will answer your questions with complete honesty and all the care you deserve. And I make you this sincere, strong, and hopeful promise. We can lower your risk of stroke by as much as 80% simply by controlling the risk factors and spotting early signs. Millions of American families, from the quiet suburbs outside Chicago to the peaceful towns of the Midwest, have already done it. Their parents are still taking morning walks, still telling stories to the grandkids, and still firing up the grill for family cookouts. You can do this too, if we begin right now with the simple, science-backed steps I'll walk you through in this message. I've watched far too many patients leave the hospital smiling because they and their families chose to act instead of wait. To help you understand exactly why strokes happen, especially as we grow older, let me explain the basic science in the simplest way possible, without any confusing medical terms. Think of your brain as a very busy command center city. Even though it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it uses up 20% of all the oxygen and energy you take in every day. It needs a constant flow of blood 24 hours a day, like a non-stop pipeline delivering fuel, oxygen, and nutrients. That blood travels through large arteries in your neck, then branches into thousands of tiny vessels deep inside the brain. A stroke occurs when that blood flow is suddenly cut off. There are two main types, and they're easy to picture like two different traffic accidents. Ischemic stroke, the blocking kind, makes up about 87% of cases. Imagine a main road suddenly jammed by a wreck. It's usually caused by a blood clot, often from an irregular heartbeat or fatty buildup, or by cholesterol plaque narrowing the vessel. In older adults, this hardening of the arteries is very common. Over the years, the vessel walls become rusty. They thicken, stiffen, and lose their flexibility because of long-term high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, smoking, or too little movement. When the pipe gets blocked, blood can't reach part of the brain. Brain cells begin dying within just 4 to 5 minutes. Every minute that passes, you lose about 1.9 million brain cells. That's why doctors say time is brain. Hemorrhagic stroke, the bleeding kind, is less common but more dangerous. Picture a water pipe bursting. The artery wall has grown weak from years of high blood pressure. Then it breaks and blood floods into the brain tissue, causing dangerous pressure and damage. In people over 65, these two problems often work together because aging makes blood vessels more fragile, and common conditions like high blood pressure, which affects more than 75% of seniors, diabetes, and high cholesterol, make the risk even higher. The result can happen in minutes. One side of the body grows weak, speech becomes slurred, dizziness hits, or the face looks crooked. If nothing is done right away, the damage can be permanent, leading to paralysis, trouble speaking, memory loss, or even death. But here's the hopeful news. Because we now understand exactly how this happens, we can step in before the accident occurs. Let me paint a picture that many of us can relate to. It's a cool autumn morning in the backyard of a cozy suburban home outside Chicago. You're sipping coffee with your son. He's 72, just like you, and he helped build the wooden deck you're sitting on. He's right in the middle of telling you about the fishing trip he wants to take with the grandkids next summer when, suddenly, his words start to slur. His right hand trembles as he reaches for his mug, and for a split second, his smile looks lopsided. The result? He could end up bedridden, or that fishing trip might never happen. I've seen scenes like this far too many times. I can tell you with complete confidence, those small, easy-to-miss changes in older adults are often the very first cracks in the dam before a full stroke hits. And right now, in 2026, the numbers are truly alarming. According to the American Heart Association's 2026 Heart Disease and Stroke Statistics Report, nearly 795,000 Americans have a stroke each year. Someone dies from a stroke every 3 minutes and 11 seconds. For people over 65, like you, the risk is much higher. Almost 14% of people in their 80s have already had a stroke, and the death rate for those over 85 has risen more than 12% in the past 10 years. High blood pressure, diabetes, and irregular heart rhythms quietly multiply the danger, yet we still tell ourselves, it's just part of getting older. That's the pain I want you to feel for just a moment. Not to scare you, but because I genuinely care about every one of you watching this. I've sat across from too many grown children, just like your own sons and daughters, watching their eyes fill with tears as they repeat the heartbreaking words, "if only." A stroke doesn't just steal movement or speech, it breaks up families. More than half of stroke survivors over age 65 lose much of their ability to get around, turning independent moms and dads into people who need help with the simplest things, buttoning a shirt, walking to the mailbox, or even remembering a grandchild's name. The financial burden is staggering, but the real price is the empty chair at Thanksgiving dinner, the canceled fishing trips, and the quiet sadness when a child says, "He hasn't been the same since that day we thought it was just dizziness." I feel that weight every time I walk into a patient's room. And I share it with you because your family does not have to live that sad story. Now let me help you see this in a whole new light, something I really need you to pay close attention to. The symptoms you just pictured with Robert are not normal signs of old age. They are not senior moments or harmless little habits. They are urgent, life-saving messages from your own brain, shouting that blood flow is being interrupted right now. The beautiful truth is that most strokes can be prevented, and when caught early, they can be treated very effectively. Time is brain. Every minute without help can cost millions of brain cells, but the flip side is incredibly powerful. Spot the warning signs and act fast, and you can often stop a major stroke or limit the damage to almost nothing. I've watched patients walk out of the hospital in just a few days because their families didn't ignore those signs. Seeing it this way turns fear into powerful action, and that's exactly why I'm writing these words to you today. Let me give you a clear framework, the same one I teach every older patient who walks into my office. I call it the Be Fast Protocol, recommended by the American Stroke Association and made even easier for how strokes often show up in seniors. These are the 5 most commonly missed warning signs in people over 60, yet they're often brushed off as arthritis, allergies, tiredness, or just old age. Pay close attention, because they can appear alone or together, last a few minutes or linger, and they demand immediate action. First, sudden loss of balance or coordination. Second, sudden vision changes. Third, drooping face or numbness on one side. Fourth, sudden weakness or numbness in one arm. Fifth, trouble speaking or understanding. These signs point straight to a cutoff in blood supply to the brain. In older adults, they can be subtler because our bodies aren't as strong, and other health problems can hide them. But this is my expert warning, wrapped in genuine care. If you notice any of these, even for just a moment, often a mini stroke or TIA, call 911 right away. Don't wait for the clinic tomorrow. Don't think, let's see if it gets better. Time is brain. Now let me tell you Robert's story in a vivid way, because stories stay with us so long after numbers fade. Robert is the picture of American retirement strength, a civil engineer who spent 30 years designing sturdy bridges across the Mississippi River. At 72, he was proud of his active life. Early morning walks with his golden retriever, weekend barbecues, and never missing his grandson's soccer games. His blood pressure had been a little high for years, but he took his medicine and figured that was enough. One ordinary Tuesday afternoon, while fixing an old lawn mower in the garage, Robert suddenly felt dizzy. The floor seemed to tilt. His left arm tingled, but he shook it off. At dinner, he told his wife, Linda, his words felt thick. She teased him about drinking too much iced tea. They both laughed. The next morning, he woke up unable to move the right side of his body. The stroke had done serious damage. I met Robert 3 days later in the neurointensive care unit. His family was devastated. When I showed them the brain scan, I saw the deep regret in their eyes. Robert's case isn't rare. It's the classic lesson of what happens when those 5 warning signs are ignored in older adults. The dizziness, tingling arm, and thick speech. Each one was a bright red flag, waving wildly. But because they came on slowly and felt familiar, they got filed away under old age. Building on that story, let me take you deeper into these 5 early warning signs, the ones I call the quiet alarm bells of the brain. This is the heart of the BE FAST protocol, and I've expanded it based on the thousands of patients I've treated. I'll explain each sign with simple pictures in your mind. Real stories, easy science. Why we usually miss it. A quick home check, and my caring warning, because I truly care about your health. Let's go back to Robert in the garage. Left arm, tingling, dizzy, speech thick, but he and Linda laughed it off. That was the moment these 5 signs were knocking on the door. If the family had recognized them, Robert could have reached the hospital in the golden window of 4.5 hours and avoided permanent damage. Now let's walk through each sign carefully, because understanding them is the key to keeping the promise I made you. Sign number 1. Sudden loss of balance or coordination. B in Be Fast. Imagine walking from the living room to the kitchen like you do every day. The floor is flat, but suddenly you stagger, grab the wall, or feel the room spinning even though you haven't moved. This isn't ordinary dizziness. It's your brain, especially the balance center, suddenly short on blood. In older adults, hardened arteries and long-term high blood pressure make this happen easily. Why do we miss it? We blame weak legs from age, arthritis, or low blood sugar. I remember Mr. Henry, 68, a veteran who tripped while walking his dog. His wife laughed it off. 3 hours later, he couldn't stand. He survived, but it took 3 months of therapy. This sign is sneaky because it doesn't hurt, but it can warn of a very dangerous brainstem stroke. Quick home check. Ask a family member to stand beside you. Stand straight, close your eyes, hold both arms out to the sides for 10 seconds. If you sway or need to grab something, call 911 immediately. Time is brain. Sign number 2. Sudden vision changes. E in Be Fast. You might notice one eye going blurry, seeing double, or a dark shadow covering part of your sight, without pain. The arteries at the back of the brain are blocked or narrowed. After age 65, diabetes, high cholesterol, or old smoking habits make this more likely. Older adults often dismiss it as old glasses or tired eyes. Mrs. Margaret, 71, saw one side of her phone screen go dark while looking at grandchild photos. She rubbed her eyes and continued. 2 days later, she couldn't see the right side. It was a TIA warning. With quick treatment, her vision returned almost completely. Quick home check. Cover one eye, then the other. Any blur, double vision, or dark spots. Act right away. Sign number 3. Drooping face or numbness. F in B, E Fast. One side of the mouth droops when you smile, or half your face feels numb. The brain area controlling the face isn't getting blood. We often blame dentures or tiredness. Mrs. Susan, 74, had a drooping mouth while telling a story. Her granddaughter laughed. The next morning, half her face was paralyzed permanently. Quick home check. Smile big in the mirror. If one side droops, call 911. Sign number 4. Weakness or numbness in one arm. A and Be Fast. Suddenly one arm feels weak. You drop things or it tingles like it fell asleep. We blame arthritis or medicine side effects. Robert had this while fixing the mower. Mr. George, 69, dropped the TV remote and thought it was just tiredness. With fast treatment, he recovered 90% in a week. Quick home check. Raise both arms up and hold for 10 seconds. If one drifts down, act immediately. Sign number 5. Trouble speaking or understanding. S&B fast. Words come out slurred. You can't find the right word. Or you suddenly can't understand others. We blame senior moments or stress. Robert's speech felt thick. Mrs. Patricia, 76, slurred on a video call. The next morning she couldn't speak at all and had to relearn speech for 6 months. Quick home check. Repeat a simple sentence. The sky's beautiful today. Let's take a walk. If it's slurred or wrong, call 911. You see how these 5 signs work together? They can appear alone or in combination, last a few minutes or longer. In older adults, they trick us because we're used to aches and tiredness. But with my 25 years of experience, I can promise you, recognizing them early is how we keep you as the hero of your family, still walking with the grandkids, still laughing at Thanksgiving dinner. I've watched hundreds of American families turn fear into strength by mastering Be Fast. If Robert's family had caught it sooner, he might be fishing with his grandson right now. You can do the same. These signs are not your destiny. They are your chance to act. So how do you turn these warning signs into a life-saving opportunity? First, do my simple 5-minute weekly self-test right at home. It's a no-cost tool I've taught to thousands of older patients. Awesome, you only need 5 minutes, a mirror, and a family member. Start with B, balance. Stand straight, close your eyes, arms out for 10 seconds. E, eyes. Cover one eye, then the other. Check for blur or shadows. F, face. Smile big. If one side droops, note it. A, arms. Raise both arms. If one drifts, that's a sign. S, speech. Repeat. The sky is beautiful today. Let's take a walk. If anything is off, call 911. Write the results in your phone or notebook and do it every week. For Robert, this test that same evening could have changed everything. It's not a diagnosis, but it is your first shield. If any sign appears, don't hesitate. Time is brain. Now we come to the part I promised from the beginning. Real, lasting prevention. We can reduce stroke risk by up to 80% by following the American Heart Association's Life's Essential 8 guidelines for 2026. Picture Robert after he left the hospital. With my guidance and Linda's support, he changed one habit at a time. In 6 months, his blood pressure stayed steady. He walked every morning without wobbling, and the family was planning next summer's fishing trip again. You can do this too. First, control blood pressure, the #1 risk factor. Check it at home twice a day and aim for under 130/80. Cut salt. Follow the DASH diet with plenty of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and lean proteins. Robert's blood pressure dropped 20 points in 8 weeks. Pume. Next, gentle regular exercise. The AHA recommends 150 minutes of moderate activity a week plus light strength training. Robert started with short walks and yoga. His blood flow improved and his clot risk dropped. Manage weight, blood sugar, and cholesterol. By eating whole foods, cutting sweets, and getting regular blood tests. Robert lost 15 pounds and saw dramatic improvements. Quit smoking and limit alcohol. Robert quit after 40 years and now enjoys green tea instead. Sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. Robert uses a simple phone app. Regular medical checkups complete the plan. Yearly carotid ultrasound, heart monitoring, and full Life's Essential 8 checks. Early treatment can prevent stroke completely. Look at Robert today. He didn't just survive, he became the prevention hero of the family. He teaches his grandson the Be Fast test, hosts healthy barbecues, and walks with the senior group every weekend. His story is not unusual. According to the American Heart Association's 2026 report, people who follow Life's Essential 8 cut their first stroke risk by up to 80%. Thus, I've seen Mrs. Margaret regain her vision, Mr. Henry walk confidently with his grandson, and countless others live full, joyful lives again. Through everything we've covered together, you now hold the most important knowledge: how to spot the B-fast warning signs early, why strokes happen, and, most of all, the practical, doable prevention steps that can cut your risk by up to 80%. None of this is meant to frighten you. It's meant to hand you the power to protect your own health. I want you to remember one simple but powerful truth. A stroke is not an unavoidable part of growing older. Robert got through it. Millions of older Americans are living healthy lives every day because they acted in time. And you have everything it takes to do the same. If you still have any questions about the B-Fast self-test, the DASH diet, checking blood pressure at home, or anything at all about your health, please comment right below. Tell me where you're watching from and how you're feeling right now. I will read every comment and answer with all my heart. You are not alone on this journey. I'm right here, ready to walk beside you. Thank you for taking the time to listen and for trusting me up to this moment. Your health is the most precious thing you have. Start today, even with one small step, because every small step can keep you as the strong foundation of your family, still laughing with your grandchildren for years to come. If you found this helpful, please like and share it with your dear friends so they can learn and act too. I look forward to hearing from you.